Okay people, so I've seen loads of people commenting on this video about reclaiming the internet by this Scottish girl who's doing this weird interpretive dance poem thing, if I remember correctly. It's batshit crazy. I love it because it's so bad, and I thought, let's bring my own little thing to the table. So, take it away, Agnes, is it?
To speak while women write, while women exist online, while women is dangerous.
Not only is the absurdity of that statement annoying me, but also the grammar is annoying me. Now look, I understand sometimes in poetry, sometimes in lyrics, you need to take some liberties with the rhythm. I understand that. But come on, seriously, that just makes you sound stupid and not at all like a poet. You sound like someone who hasn't really got a grasp of the English language. It sounds very much like, you know, just some person going, yeah, and woman this, woman that, because they don't know how to say women or a. Like they've just forgot the letter A can be used in a sentence like I, but whatever, continue. I'm just nitpicking people. But how is it dangerous to just be a woman on the internet, which is what you're getting at? How is it dangerous exactly? In the Pew Internet research about internet harassment, men and women get different types of harassment in different ways, and in fact, in many cases, you can argue that men receive more. That's what their research seemed to suggest. Links down below for those who want to check it out. So, is it really dangerous, or is it no dangerous than it is being a man? Just a human being in general has as much chance of being harassed as another human being, regardless of gender, but hey, whatever. I'm sure we'll get into that in a minute, people.
There is an online epidemic of violence against women.
Oh, Jesus Christ, you really want to make this a long one, don't you? Look, how can you be violent in a cyberspace? I cannot literally go through the computer monitor or jack myself into the matrix and go and slap you, can I? That is impossible. We don't live in that world. You cannot be violent on the internet. You can say horrible things, you can do horrible things in regards to the limitations of the technology, but you can't be violent. You can advocate violence, you can talk about violence, you can post violent things, but where did those violent things come from? The real world, meatbag land. And what is this epidemic you speak of? Oh, yeah, of course. What epidemic? Yeah, we say there's an epidemic, so therefore there is an epidemic, when you know damn well there is no epidemic.
Don't believe me? Ask any woman who writes online, any female gamer or sports commentator, any artist or journalist, and you will find a backlog of death threat upon death threat upon rape threat upon rape threat, always rape threats.
And you can speak for all the women on the internet that they have received these things. You actually can definitely say that these people have received it, because what's funny is I was browsing Twitter earlier and I found this on Dr. Random McCann's little Twitter page, and oh, lo and behold, some people have never had this happen to them before. One of them is even a gamer. I followed someone called Micromedia, and he is a man and has received death threats. Sargon of Akkad has received death threats. Thunderfoot has not only received death threats and been doxxed, Sargon has also been doxxed. He's also had people phone into his employers in the Czech Republic trying to get him fired, accusing him of many things, including being a Nazi, which in the Czech Republic is illegal. You cannot hold those views. Yeah, apparently only women have to deal with this shit.
How did it come to this?
It's certainly not how you describe it, and I'm pretty sure that these people just do it because they're horrible people. And what's funny is, isn't like 50% of all harassers women or something?
To generations of terrified men hiding behind screens, muttering violent utterings, whore, slut, cunt, feminazi.
And thus, the real intentions of this video are apparent. It's not really to defend to women's, it's to defend the ideology, isn't it? If you were truly honest about, you know, things that are happening to people who happen to be women online, you would not refer to the word feminazi now, would you? No. This is about feminists getting criticism online and you don't like it. This is what the whole Reclaim the Internet is all about. It has nothing to do with the safety of individuals, but everything to do with the collective safety of one's own stupid thoughts in their echo chambers. And that's just really what they've just shown right here. And it's funny that they can also read the minds of these guys. Apparently they're scared. Do you not think that maybe these guys aren't scared, or women, and they're just like doing this for the lols.
Why are they so afraid of what we have to say that every time I post a new poem online, I will inevitably get the comment, "Shut the fuck up"?
Maybe, just maybe, it's not the poetry that they're telling you to shut up with. Maybe you're antagonising some people who might not even be trolls because you have points of view like you've just espoused right now. And again, you do not know if these people are scared. And what's funny is the only people who are so afraid of what people have to say are the feminists, because you're the ones blocking, you're the ones unleashing the internet hate mob onto people, the things they say, the things they do. And you will also try and get one man arrested for disagreeing with you on Twitter. Yes, people, I am talking about Gregory Allen Elliott, who thankfully won his case, but because he disagreed with a feminist online, she called that harassment, and by Canada's laws, it's whatever the person feels is harassment, and he got arrested for that. Thankfully, it was thrown out of court. But that's what you lot are doing. I don't see the trolls being scared at all.
To be dangerous is to speak while woman, to speak truth to power, to speak truth to power, to speak at all while woman is dangerous.
Again with the shitty grammar, and look, you lot are in power, you lot are the establishment. The things that you say, the things that you do, the things you advocate are things that are being put in law right now, especially in places like Australia, Canada, my country, the US of A, especially in college campuses. Yet apparently you are the oppressed minority, the oppressed class, even though you're like 50% of the population. You're the revolutionaries, yet you treat us like this.
Because when we decide to speak, we become dangerous women.
This girl was persuasive. This girl I could not trust. The girl was mad. The girl was dangerous.
When we decide to speak, we become dangerous to the status quo because our voices can shatter glass ceilings.
There is no glass ceiling in the West. People have their own choices in life, their own qualifications, and that is reflected in their wages, in where they go in life. Everyone has equality of opportunity, but what you're asking for is equality of outcome. I think you're getting the two conflated there.
Because our words can tear apart silence woven shut over centuries, because for us to choose to be heard instead of just seen is still revolutionary.
Look, it might be a revolutionary act in the Islamic world and in some Eastern Asian countries. Over here, there were women on Question Time in the UK, our country, who are opinionated, not only MPs and journalists, but also the members of the public. And nobody gasps in horror that, oh my God, these people are saying things. No, they're just regular members of the public or, public figures speaking their mind. And nobody thinks that is an issue. Nobody thinks that is something special. Only you lot who think we all live in the 1890s, which by the way, there were vocal women back then as well. In fact, there always has been. That's probably why there's been a lot of queens in history and empresses and hell, even soldiers. A minority, but they wouldn't get where they were if they were not vocal and strong. Of course, things were limited, I do agree and concede that point, but these women still spoke their minds when others could not.
When I speak online about women's rights to their own bodies, terrified little men threaten to hang me from trees.
Right, really? Are you sure they're not just trying to get a rise out of you, or are you just making things up? Because I just don't buy that every single thing that you say you get hate for. Unless you are saying hateful things every time you're on the internet or in your poetry. Because nobody gets this type of reaction all the time on the internet. It's just, look, you have to be either a well-known horrible person or something happened to you and people use that for shits and gigs, like when Gary Lineker shat himself on the pitch. People will say, shat yourself on the pitch, shat yourself in an advert because they think it's funny. You don't see him complain about it, by the way, out of interest.
To rape me out of my opinion, to force me to stay silent, to force me to shut up.
None of this is true. You are the establishment, not the revolution, dictating to the plebs what they can and cannot do and what their perceived slights are against you and what you're going to do to them. Stop the pretense.
To become a dangerous woman is to decide to be heard instead of just seen, is to decide that your favourite body part is not your tits or your ass or your waist, but your teeth, your tongue, your vocal cords.
So women can't enjoy parts of the body that they think is attractive to them? Why is that such a bad thing? Oh, yeah, of course. Insecure, sex negative, feminism, yeah. Let them do what they want to do. I thought that was the whole point. Why are you telling them to be proud of their vocal cords and their tongues and their teeth? What if these women don't feel the need to say anything? What if there are people saying things that they agree with already? Or maybe they have no opinion. Maybe they're not getting silenced. Maybe they just can't be bothered. And maybe these people that you claim are trying to silence you, they are the ones who are legitimately grieved, and you are just projecting. But what do I know, people? I'm just a guy on the internet. My issues, my experiences, they don't matter unless my race is involved.
Is to find that the most beautiful part of yourself cannot be seen by outsider because it resides within your mind.
Not everyone is smart, so that can't be the most beautiful part of their body or whatever. Also, you did another stupid error in your spelling this time. It's not you-self, it's yourself. God damn it, if you're gonna do a video like this, please do it right.
Every time I receive a wave of online violence and abuse,
I see no bruises, I don't hear you being scared or anything. I see you sounding very pretentious and very entitled. Yeah, oh, please do tell me about this so-called violence that is affecting you on the internet.
I find it is the same thing. It is always from men.
And you would know this because, right, let's get down to this. You know damn well that most, if not all, internet trolls tend to be anonymous, tend to use names that aren't theirs, tend to use usernames that hide their real names. And we've seen in the media, and this was posted everywhere, I think even the Huffington Post, Washington Post, The Guardian mentioned this, that 50% of online trolls are female. So you're already lying about that. In my example before with Dr. Random Account, they were all women criticising you, but they don't exist apparently. I'm not saying they're trolls. Apparently they don't exist and all the trolls are men. Are you sure this is not just a demonisation video and not some legitimate concern, a legitimate call to action against a problem on the internet? Because by making it gendered, as usual, you're only fighting half the battle and you're painting one gender with the broad brush and saying, look, they're the problem, and we know it's not.
It's only from men, and it is never about what I'm speaking about. It is about the fact that I am speaking, that I dare to be speaking while living in this body, while this body is living in this world.
Your body is not that unique. You are a human being. What you can do if you're an able-bodied person is no different to another able-bodied woman. Your body's not unique. You are not a special snowflake or anything. And this is, again, not a gendered issue. I have been trolled and received hate mail from both genders and all races and all creeds. This is a problem with humanity. And we're probably never going to solve it because there's always going to be assholes in the world. You can't stop it. All you can do is block or report them, or ignore them.
The first time I received a death threat for my poetry, I was proud. I belly laughed with the joy of it. I wore it as a badge of honour. I felt it read, I am a dangerous woman.
I never knew that I was over the line. Sorry about that singing, people, but yeah, you still sound like that. You don't sound like you're particularly threatened, and you don't sound like you're particularly pissed off with this situation. You sound almost joyful in your denouncement of it.
I threaten patriarchy.
Of course. Take a drink, people. She said one of the buzzwords, although she said others before, so you gotta, catch up. You didn't threaten anything. It doesn't exist. And you don't even know the gender of these people. You do not know. So don't go around saying you know everything when you clearly don't. I don't know half the time what my trolls are. They could be bots for all I know.
I make the status quo shake to its core. I am a dangerous woman.
Dangerous, girl, you're so dangerous. I'm sorry, people, I just can't help it. The Michael Jackson jokes are just too hard to ignore. And again, stop repeating yourself. You're gonna make me repeat myself, and people are gonna complain that I'm repeating myself. But you are not shaking any status quo because you are it. Okay, next.
Hear me roar.
I don't know about you, but my spine literally caved in because of that cringe.
The first time I received death threats online, I was proud. I had made some little man so afraid he used every word he had ever learned to shut a woman up.
Again, you don't know he's a man. You're using the fact that you think he's a man to demonise men as a whole. This is not about trolling. This is not about the internet. This is about you speaking about your man hatred, and it's quite clear to see. This could have been a woman for all you know. Hell, it could have been a bot. It could have been someone programmed the bot to spam people. I don't know if that's even possible. It could be possible, I don't know. But you don't know who's behind that keyboard. You don't know. Are you going to name him and shame him if he's such a bad person? No, you're not. Because either he doesn't exist, or he's not a man, or if he does exist, you just are too cowardly to even mention that.
To silence and disbelief, to force us into quiet.
Who's us? And how do you know he's trying to shut you up? Maybe he's trying to get a rise out of you. Maybe he's just thinking, you know what, I'm going to just shitpost this person and go about my day and have a good belly laugh. Hell, he could just be crazy, or she could be crazy. You don't know. But what I do know is silencing you is not going to happen because look, you're here on YouTube making this crappy video. So clearly you have not been silenced. I'm seeing loads of people getting silenced on Twitter because of the Trust and Safety Council, which has a very feminist bias. But, you know, what do I know? I mean, it wasn't them who perma-banned Milo, was it? It was the trolls. It was Temens.
Whore, slut, cunt, feminazi.
I understand what you're doing using the repetition form of poetry, but it just makes it more nauseating. And I really think, I know this is cheap coming from me, people, but you could have been more succinct, really, with this. The other words that I forgot to really delve into are said by both genders. Both genders use those words against not only women, but men too. Men have been called all sorts of those words too. Depends on, you know, use and how much. That's open to interpretation. These are just words, and it's how you perceive and react to these words that really give them their power. If you just, you know, don't react or just shrug it off or laugh in their faces and call them something else, what have they got left to hurt you with? They've got nothing. That you've diffused them.
The first time I received a death threat for one of my poems, I was proud. But the 10th time, the 11th, the 12th time I received a death threat for one of my poems, I was tired. I was annoyed, I was exhausted, I was furious. I am not the only woman facing this.
No, you're not the only human being dealing with this situation right now, okay? Stop making it a gendered bloody issue. It is not. And again, you've not given me any real evidence. I am currently seeing right now some, I don't know, was that a blog post? Is that a poem? That looks like a WordPress blog. And again, what does this say? This says nothing about your situation or anybody's situation. You think you're doing a good thing about trying to end it by making it a gendered issue, but you're not. You're making it 10 times worse. You are giving ammunition to the trolls and also ammunition to people like me who can show how bigoted and wrong your movement is. So, good job. Good job.
Many women have it far worse online than I do. How many more? How many more women threatened with murder for speaking before we act up?
Yeah, you know they're being totally serious when they literally say they are going to do it. I'm not saying that all death threats are false, they're obviously not, but logic shows that, you know, if you're going to get killed, the person's not going to tell you. Otherwise, your guard is up and you know they're going to do it, and now, you know, the element of surprise is lost, stuff like that. But hey, whatever, that's problematic, that's triggering to these people.
How many more before we reclaim the internet as we reclaim our streets?
Reclaim the internet? It never belonged to you. It never belonged to me. Never belonged to the trolls. It belongs to everyone. The internet is an open place for all humanity. At least that's what it should be. No one can claim ownership over it. It's like what Tarzan says, no man owns the jungle. All this bullshit is nothing more than a ploy to censor it. This is the perfect gateway for corporations to get in here and, you know, release policies like SOPA and all those other things. These people are thinking, oh, this will help us, this will make it a safe space for us all. When no, they're going to use it against you once they've dealt with us.
How many more men and young boys socialised into misogyny behind anonymous screens? This isn't helping men either.
Yeah, right, we're not victims of harassment and death threats and all sorts of vile shit on the internet. No, we're the perpetrators, and this makes us look bad. This is exactly the same as how they treat domestic violence. This is how they treat rape. This is how they treat crime and things in general. It's always our fault. We're the ones who do this. Even though we know that is not the case. This is what this video is about. This is not about protecting people. This is not about women's rights. This is not about women's safety. This is about censorship. And this is about how does she know, how can she prove that men are conditioned, socialised to be misogynist? Does that mean that most men who are brought up by their mothers, by the way, or at least spend more time with their mothers on average, are programmed by these women to hate them? You see how crazy this is? I mean, most teachers are female nowadays. I mean, I guess it probably always was, but there used to be more male teachers than there are now. You're taught mostly by women, you're raised mostly by women, unless there's a kind of a 50-50 thing, but I don't know, most people don't tend to, unless that's just me projecting my life. Yet, they're being conditioned to be misogynist, so does that mean that women are teaching boys to be misogynist? But how come the women aren't being taught to be by these very same people? It just falls apart, people, once you actually think.
You know that, right? I receive letters of support from men every week.
Then there are men trying to help. Then therefore it's not all men, is it? It's not a gendered issue if men are seeing this and are trying to help you. You know, I don't deny that you have had threats. Most people have probably had something like that or had a bad experience online. You make it out as if it's all the time. It's just impossible.
Men who are exhausted and struggling and terrified of trying to live up to the expectations of being a real man.
Oh my god, not this shit. Oh, you just can't make it up. But men are facing far more worrying concerns than being a real man. You know, most men have bills to pay. Most men have jobs to find or jobs to do, which they have a high chance of being killed in. Because men are most deaths in work-related incidents. Men have other issues aside from being real men, which makes them want to kill themselves. That could be mental health, that could be illness, that could be anything. You know, we've got to deal with stuff like that. They have to deal with law courts that are biased against them, in which they will receive worse prison sentences than women, and that trumps race even, hell of a lot more. And then also we have the family courts, where women are favoured more than men, simply because they're women. And who introduced all that? You guys did. But no, apparently it's just the feels. It's just that, you know, what a real man, trying to be a real man, that harms men. Even though what that is just a non sequitur. These men are not trying to write to you because they're terrified of being real men. They're writing to you because they want to help you, in a misguided effort, of course.
Men who are angry with the violence they see directed at women. Men who are exhausted, not knowing how to end that violence.
Again, it's the internet. It's not violence. It's abusive language. Yes, I will say it is. Yes, it can be bullying. Yes, it can be harassment. Yes, it can be extremely annoying, but it's not violent. You're in a cyber bloody world. It's a computer monitor. The only way it's violent is they come around your house and attack you.
Not knowing what to do. This is not about individual men. And it's not about a few internet trolls either.
I got the collectivist mumbo jumbo straight away. I know what you're trying to do here. You're painting the whole demographic. Even though you just said not all men, so you're already contradicting yourself in just a couple of seconds. Well done.
This is not about all men or some men. This is about masculinity.
Thank you for being absolutely open with your misandry. Apparently, the fact that men are masculine is therefore the reason why there is trolls on the internet and why people in general get bullied online, even though 50% of them happen to be feminine and female. It's masculinity that's the issue. It's a toxic masculinity. Oh no, it's not even toxic masculinity, it's just masculinity. And of course, you can't prove this.
This is about masculinity gone toxic and afraid. This is about a masculinity gone violent.
You've not really explained why they're afraid, what they're afraid of, other than outspoken women. Nobody's afraid of that unless the woman happens to be an anti-feminist or just somebody says something out of turn from the status quo that you created, but you know, whatever. How has masculinity gone toxic? How can it be toxic exactly? Because as far as I'm aware, what this means is basically these men are not acting the way that you think they ought to act and the way that you think masculinity ought to be, which is basically like femininity. That's what you lot think. This is what you, particular brand of feminists, like to think.
This is about a system of patriarchy so afraid of what we have to say and the fact that anyone can hear us say it, that it will threaten us, that it will abuse us and harass us, that it will use the only tools it knows how. More patriarchy.
So the patriarchy, in its infinite wisdom, much like the Illuminati's infinite wisdom, has decided that the whole society can hear what you have to say, and then they realise that they made an error and are now trying to stop you by doing more patriarchy. What? How does that make any sense? If they wanted to silence you, we would not be seeing you in this video right now. I'm pretty sure if there was a patriarchy, you would not be this open about all this. I'm pretty sure, as I said before, we would not even know you exist. They would have stamped this out. They would make sure you can't say a damn thing. Yet here you are, being open as one can possibly be about their bigotry and their authoritarianism. And you think that you're being oppressed.
More death threats, more rape threats, and you might not see it. But patriarchy is failing.
Well, yeah, it's giving you a platform. Of course it's failing, although it doesn't exist, which is why that contradiction exists in the first place, but never mind, people. I think we've done enough to break her seal of reality anyway.
Patriarchy is stumbling and falling, you might not see it, but patriarchy is losing.
And yet every time the threat gets more and more worse, even though it's supposedly failing, it's supposedly losing. God, this just sounds like when the communists were like, don't worry, in the 80s, they were like, don't worry, we're winning. We're winning. Capitalism is going to fail. It's only a matter of time now. History's on our side. This is exactly what it sounds like to me. Oh, you. Oh, you. And I just like how she says, you can't see it. You can't see it. Of course we can't see it. It doesn't exist.
It is its dying breath and it's using it to deny how badly it's going. It's patriarchy's dying breath and it intends to go out fighting.
But why would it put itself in this situation? That's literally what you described. It's like, oh, we're gonna let all these people like speak their minds and do all this stuff that will undermine us. Oh crap, look what we've just done. Quick, let's do more patriarchy and stuff.
To claw its ways into the hearts of young men who are so afraid of what their role will be in a big bad world that no longer belongs to only them.
I'm sorry, but the world has never belonged to most men. And it's not even belonged to most women. It has belonged to a small percentage of people called the upper class, the elite, call them what you will, and they rule things. And they can be male or female. We've seen this throughout history. We've had queens and empresses, emperors and kings and presidents. You know, the first female president was she Pakistani or Indian? The elite will be leading us no matter what gender they are. That is a fact of history. And they do this because they like power, they like control, and they would like the status quo to be exactly how it is. Them at the top with their comfortable lives and us down at the bottom, scraping by just about. I know that's a very simplistic way of putting it, but that's the world in which we live in, and it's not gendered.
But to all of us, whore, slut, cunt, feminazi, these are words used to pin us down, to keep us quiet.
No, they're just words that describe things. They're not used to silence you. What's funny is, you talk about that, yeah, misogynist, patriarchy, internalized misogyny, oh god, conservative, anything like that. You lot do the exact same thing to everybody. But you know what? I can't just point out the hypocrisy because that would just be sexist, wouldn't it? You know? Oh, I just better shut up now.
But we are dangerous women when we choose to speak. To choose to speak is to realise that you are explosions. In the centre of the status quo, they are only looking for ways to disarm you.
Apparently, but you're still making this video, you're still mouthing off about bullshit. I think they're doing a lot more than trying to disarm you. I think they're actively trying to, you know, let you speak. I don't know. I mean, I'm just observing here.
They are only looking for ways to silence you, to make you safe for them.
Oh my god, so much projection. We're not the ones calling for safe spaces. We're the one calling for actual diversity of thought here. You're the ones who are going around going, oh no, we can't be having this, can't be having that. No platform this person, ban this person. Yep, we're the ones that are trying to silence you. Or rather, the mythical patriarchy people, you know.
To make you compliant, and they will not succeed because we are dangerous women.
All right, I get it. You think you're dangerous, you think you're amazing, you think you're a Che Guevara in stockings. Look, nobody's interested, nobody's impressed, and you're not gonna win any minds over, okay? Not with this shit.
Because to speak is to be a dangerous woman, and we will never shut up.
I don't think I ever once told you to shut up, I just told you to stop being bigoted and authoritarian as far as I'm aware. Yay, it's over. And with that, I guess my response is over. So this has been Changman93. Like, share the video, subscribe to my channel, and until next time.